Ladies and gentlemen, guys and gals, here we are, live and direct, DORK COURT. DORK COURT. Anyway, we're doing Randall finally saw DUEL. Steven Spielberg's DUEL. There he is.
Hello.
You're not going to get a much better introduction than that. Hey, it's Randall Armstrong. He's living in Florida, doing some stuff now.
You're doing the flexing.
A new job, I heard. Is that good? Is that something you can talk about?
Yes.
Like-
yeah, absolutely. I got a job closer to home. I'm back into working the corporate grind. I'm working at the UPS store. So learning some cool stuff, like, understanding more about, shipping and all that stuff.
That's actually a pretty good thing for a guy who ships comics all around.
Yep.
Yep. And when I was in college, I worked at the UPS store. Not the store, the major hub of shipping the stuff, So at first I was loading trucks and I was a little incompetent about that.
Okay.
But they realized it was because my attention to detail was kind of shitty.
Okay.
And so if you a truck is responsible for a list of zip codes, right?
Yeah.
And so they would throw the box in and I would just stack them. Well, you're supposed to look at everything and confirm that the zip code is amongst your range. And I would just be like, yeah, man, that's close enough. And, one box going to the wrong place is too much, right?
Sure.
So I'd get like one a shift. And they were like, hey, man, we know you're a pretty smart kid going to college and all that shit. You're just not, this isn't your job. So I was just like, I'm going to get fired. That's cool. I'll go do something else. No big deal. And they're like, no, we have a job we think you're better suited for. You will sort for the zip codes because there's a much lower amount of zip codes that you need to know. So I got like this giant tower, right?
Yeah.
Like I was about 10 feet away from the top of the warehouse.
Wow.
And I had, at the top of it, I had 5 slides, and each slide represented a zip code, a chain of like 3 zip codes.
Yeah.
And so I would look at it and go, bam, bam, bam. And for some reason, I could do that.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And it was a little more chill because it was very hectic for like the first 15 or 20 minutes. But then you filled up the slides. So then they were 4-hour shifts. So you had like 3.5 hours just going. Like literally, you'd be like, oh, 94116. Cool. And then go back to the paperback that you were reading. You know what I mean? So I for not being able to do a good labor job, I got kind of like a supervisor job without supervisor pay. And I was just fine with that. So sometimes you can fall upwards. I literally fell upwards because I was very high up in the warehouse. It was cool. Physically. Anyway, DUEL. I heard our pal Tony Garacci found you a secret place to watch it for free, right?
So he did. However, by the time he got me the information, it was too late. I didn't tell him.
Oh, you'd already bought it?
Well, I didn't buy it. I rented it. This is the first time I rented from Fandango.
Oh,
and
right
so I was like, okay, let me try this out. And it's $4 to rent it. They give you 48 hours to watch it. Well, it's weird. It's like you have 30 days to begin watching it. And then the minute you watch it, you didn't have 48 hours to complete it.
I'll tell you why that is. But I have to say, hey to Rick Austin, my oldest friend, Rick Austin, Hollywood producer, big shot, Rick Austin. One of my favorite pictures of him is like, I don't know, he's in his early 20s, and it's from his Christmas card, and he had like spray painted like "Peace on Earth" on the side of the building or something, and he's standing there looking like Bono from U2.
Nice.
But my second favorite one is he's literally busting up Alec Baldwin and Bobby De Niro, because he directed him in some MTV thing, or I don't know. He'll tell us if he really cares.
Bobby. Bob.
It's Sag dude. Yeah. I imagine he means dude, but DUEL might be 2 of us. or in fact the movie Duel, which we should start right now. So we watched it. It was good. I watched it. I took notes. I treated this like I hadn't seen it before, but
Oh, sweet.
obviously I had. So we should tell people that if you haven't seen this, it's Steven Spielberg's first movie, and it's a TV movie. And now, if they shot this now, it would be 90 seconds long. It's a road rage movie where a guy cuts somebody off and then spends the rest of the movie flipping them off. It's great.
Yeah, which is interesting because I've seen a couple movies that kind of have a similar. I think, the movies that I saw, they probably drew inspiration from Steven's Duel film.
You think?
Yeah. Oh yeah, they had to.
It's
Yeah.
one of the. Leonard Maltin says it's an above average TV movie, which is his highest rating because he's such a snob. But that is a cult movie that's insane, and mainly because it's basically Jaws. Like 2 years later, he does the same movie, right?
I think the biggest difference is he's by himself, right? Versus
the biggest difference is that there's not a shark and it's a truck.
Yeah.
No, I got you. He's
no John Williams music either.
It's more of a monster movie. You're right. It's like one guy against this unstoppable nameless force.
Yeah.
Kid Rick cracks me up. Duel Messiah. The Car and Christine are two that come to mind. Yeah. Here's the thing about that, though, that like as a young man, I always put that together too. And I was telling Walker about it. And I said, I'm pretty sure it's because my dad said to me, hey, let's watch this thing about this demonic truck driver. And I don't know if he read that in a TV Guide synopsis or he was just feeling particularly poetic. That wasn't like normal for him. And honestly, it was fucking 50 years ago. So maybe I'm remembering it a little wrong. But it somehow went into my head that this was a demonically possessed truck as a kid. And I was like, oh man, this is so scary. And it really isn't. If you watch this as an adult, you get the thrilling stuff about it. You get the stuff about his wife pressures at home. You get the idea that like he was probably a Vietnam vet who just had come back, like maybe only been back for 4 or 5 years. So he's kind of like jumpy, but also not real concerned about killing somebody in a ball of flame, right?
Well, I mean, it's about how much a person gets pushed, and like he kind of just reached his edge, I think, and totally understandable. However, I if I were to put myself in his position, I would have just turned that car right around and went home. I would have been like, screw this. I'm not dealing with this.
Well, that's the thing. That's why I was kind of making fun of you on the thing I put on Facebook about you have to watch these movies in their context.
Yeah.
Because this is 1971 and everybody's got the thumb of like the Vietnam War under them.
Yeah.
So I'm really thinking as I was watching this, I'm like, man, we should do Vanishing Point next. Because it's very similar down to what Rick just said. Or no, I guess it was Tony, the radio commentary in the background at the beginning of the movie. And I love Rick's like, or is it? You don't know if it's commentary or if it's actually narrative that's driving the plot. I don't know. But it reminded me of in Vanishing Point, where he's kind of helped along by this radio DJ on his stuff. And oh, man, it's just the 70s are so good for like you must have enjoyed. I know you enjoyed French Connection. But 70s is so good for that. Like there's a heavy pall over society. Something bad is kind of happening, but we don't really know where to swing. You know what I mean? And it's cool because then you get it's sort of a disappointment of the end of JFK's Camelot and the beginning of Watergate, but you don't really understand that while you're living in it.
Right.
Especially because Watergate's like 2 years away from this movie. But you can kind of see like what's going on in the world. So, man, what did I rate? Oh, that's speaking of Tony's point. I was like, the movie opens on black and has the radio and stuff, and that's kind of cool. But and then you get all that POV shot of he gets up in the morning, makes his breakfast, and drives away.
driving from like the city to
And you don't see
city
him.
to
Even he, like the truck driver. That's why I was going with the truck is not demonically possessed. It's just some asshole driving, right? He's
yeah.
just bored and pissed off and driving some shitty truck, and he's mad, right?
It's
So he's
crazy guy. Yeah,
just
he's
fucking
lost
with
it.
some guy because what's the consequence going to be? His 40-ton truck's going to run out, right? He doesn't care. Oh, well, it's paperwork, but he's
Yeah,
not going to get hurt, right? So, but man, it's cool in the you have the juxtaposition of that, and every once in a while you see his hand out the window, you kind of see his face, you see his
yeah,
boots and stuff. But they sort of do that with David Mann. Like, come on, he's a man. That's why he's got that last name.
yeah, yeah,
Like, but they have to make that point, right? Because he's kind of milquetoasty, and that's what's happening in the world. Like he was shooting pink mist in the Yellow Man in Vietnam 4 years ago, and now like he can't pay his bills, and nobody appreciates him, and his wife gets mad at him because he's working so hard. That's like the argument they have. Like you can't fight against that, but now you got kind of this pall hanging over you, you know. Yeah, anyway, that was
yeah, yeah. Well,
one
I
of my
mean, like,
main notes in the
didn't she?
beginning.
Yeah, didn't she claim like there was somebody at like a work party that did something to her, and like he didn't do anything, you know? And
Yeah,
it
I
was just
mean,
like one of those like,
yeah.
yeah. So I mean, it's a brief moment, but it kind of just gives you the idea of like,
Uh,
okay, there's some marital problems, and he wimped out, you know? And
here,
so
here's Tony like telling you, don't turn around and go home. He's going to handle that big account. I forgot that, but you don't really forget it at the end where he's just sitting there in the middle of nowhere throwing stones into the s'mores charcoal fire he's got going that has that guy there. Oh man, I love that shot of the blood dripping down the steering
yeah,
wheel because there's no doubt that thing that guy's dead. I love that. And so he just sits there for hours just going, oh geez, that happened. What are you going to
so
do,
yeah,
man?
just making sure he's dead.
No, it's more like he's contemplating man's inhumanity towards man, right? It's like,
Oh,
even
sure.
guys just can't. I lost a big account, but in the scheme of things, this fucking
Well, like, because even like in the beginning of the movie, right? Wasn't he like concerned about like, hey, be careful with my car, be careful with the car, and then as things like started getting worse, and he didn't even care the damage that was getting to the car. It was just him surviving, him like that his safety and just trying to get by. You
Here's
know?
a great one from Rick that telling us the stuff. The TV movie was 74 minutes long. I know that, and the I don't know if it was the theatrical release domestically. I know it was internationally. They released it like they did the 2 hour Battlestar Galactica
Oh,
and
okay.
Buck Rogers things. They did those theatrical releases internationally, but they also had those two had American releases, domestic releases. I don't know. Anyway, that's cool. Thanks, Rick. Rick is
I
it?
couldn't remember because I know Steven Spielberg did. He worked on Columbo. I know he directed, and I guess like the Columbo episodes, they were like TV movies as well, right?
Yeah, I don't know about that. Weren't they just episodes? I don't know. I don't know anything
Yeah.
about Spielberg's early career.
Okay.
Um,
Because
just
I
this.
can't remember if he did Duel first or if he did Columbo. But I just
I
remember the episode that he directed for Columbo. Like I could see elements of what he did in Columbo. I could see that in Duel, and so I thought that was pretty cool.
if I
Like
was if I was Steve Ukran, I would look that up right now while we're live.
yeah,
Huh. Spielberg Columbo. Oh, 1971. It's the same year as Duel, so who knows what came first?
oh okay,
Ah, somebody says here's a headline: Spielberg's Columbo episode made his movies possible. So, you know,
oh okay. There you go.
maybe I mean, if Columbo was a Universal show, then that makes all the sense in the world, right? Because so the reason this TV movie thing is a deal, I don't know if you know, but back in the old days, they would have these things, movies of the week, and
Yeah,
like the
yeah,
network would do it. And it started, they would burn failed pilots as special movies, right?
yeah,
And and then they just started making cool stuff, and this was one of them. So, yeah. Rick says, yeah, episodic TV came first. I mean, that makes logical sense, right? Nobody starts off doing, whatever his first theatrical film was. It wasn't Jaws. Who knows? His
Yeah,
wife was bitching at him for not saying, oh, yeah, that's the standing up to his bully.
And then, like, what's interesting too, like, it's his first film, but when I look at it, when I watch it, because like I've seen so many of Spielberg's films, and I feel like he's got like a certain directing style that you kind of catch, and you're like, oh, yep, that's a Spielberg film, and so like I think what makes this film interesting is like if no one told you it was directed by Steven Spielberg, you probably wouldn't know that it was him that directed it. Just because of that directing style for that first film. I think his like true like I haven't seen Close Encounters of the Third Kind, so I can't say about that. But I will say that you're already thinking like, damn it, Randall, that's another
I'm
one.
I'm not interrupting you. Everyone knows what I think about that.
And but I feel like Jaws is probably his like quintessential, like that's his first like foray, like his style kind of set in stone, I think, was Jaws. And then like the future films that you saw him direct, it's like you could see like the elements of like his directing style.
Congratulations on that incisive insight, Randall. Like, Bill Sienkiewicz didn't start out. He started out drawing like Neil Adams, right? And now he's this powerhouse painter, right? So it's like, of course, Spielberg's style isn't there at the beginning.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. Anyway,
but I mean, but some people might assume.
Well, those people are from Florida. All right, here we go. Tony's like Kolchak, the Night Stalker, all-time favorite. The only reason I bring that up is because Walker's Jack Fry thing. I told him, I'm like, man, I'm telling you, when you get to film school, it's going to be Kolchak, X-Files, Jack Fry. And he's like, what's Kolchak? And because he's my kid, I know that he doesn't know this. It's way before he was born. So instead of pointing at him and laughing like you, I was like, oh, hey, man, here's what it is. He's like, oh, yeah, right on. That's pretty cool. Yeah, you can see where X-Files came from. I'm like, that guy was in X-Files. Well, anyway, yeah. Dennis Weaver came in.
Oh, yeah.
ABC Mystery Theater. Look at, you wouldn't know Rick Austin's 2 years younger than me, would you? He's like right there with that 70s stuff.
Nice. I was going to say, like, I'm familiar with Kolchak.
That right there, I'm pointing at it on my screen. That right there, damn it, Randall, from Chris Seguisig, and I'm going to say his name correctly for once.
Yeah.
That's just massive shame you haven't seen Close Encounters.
Yeah.
Dude, right behind me is a Scream-used Mayflower patch in that drawer over there. So if you ever find yourself in my house and you need to ransack, the drawer right behind me.
Your house, I'm sure all of your house, there's all kinds of treasures lying around.
Dude, the like silverware drawer with the spoons we use is like some crack that they used in a Quantum Leap episode that I got. Anyway, damn it, Randall. That's all. The thing with the snake. So Rick said some crazy stuff on the, I don't know if you had a chance to read that thread today, but there was a Star Trek reference. And
yeah,
for Sally, the snake chick, and they were saying something that she's in the same in a movie, and I couldn't place the Star Trek movie that was. So hopefully they tell me. Yes, this means something, dude. You have to watch Close Encounters. Yeah. Let's see. My friend Bob Berman, who's a latex guy, got the molds for the alien head, the Carlo Rambaldi design alien head from Close Encounters. We should probably just call that, right? Next week, we'll do Close Encounters. That's an easy one to get a hold of.
Sure, yeah.
Dude, because...
Well, you know what? I have an idea. An idea. What I'd like to do is, from going forward, let's make 2 movie suggestions just on the off chance I can't find one of the films streaming.
Okay. If you can't find Close Encounters streaming, that's like saying, man, I need some nickels. Yeah. Wow. Where can I find nickels? Anyway, Close Encounters. No, the Cafe and Duel is also in 19. Oh, of course, that's why I didn't get it. Maybe let's do a double feature of Close Encounters and 1941 because
I've
I
seen
just
1941.
oh see I haven't though.
Oh, you haven't? I mean, I wanted to see it mainly because John Belushi's in it, and when I heard Steven Spielberg directed it, and it was a comedy, and I even owned the soundtrack. I love the music, the theme to 1941. Such a fun film. It wasn't as funny as I was expecting it to be, but I mean, I watched it mainly because I just love the ensemble. I love seeing all these actors in that time when they were much younger, like even Dan Aykroyd being in it. Um, I'm Facebook friends, or at least I follow him. I always have trouble remembering the actor's name, but he's
Well,
like,
what kind
he
of
was in
friend are
Greece.
you, man? You don't have the guy's name right there in your brain? Come on.
Oh, I know, I know. I'm just horrible with names. But he's the skinny guy with the glasses from Greece. He was also in
Okay.
1941. He mentions that, and talked about his experience getting to work on that, and how he loved working with Steven Spielberg on that film. And so I just thought that's really cool, like, getting to be a part of one of those early films.
I didn't realize this at the time, but 1941 has the honor of being the first movie that I dismissed because of social media, what passed for social media at the time, like which was like National Enquirer, the Marvel fan letters pages, and like People magazine.
Yeah,
And it was just like I got my Mad magazine and they did a 1941 parody and they always follow the plot of the movie. They just make funny, obvious jokes and references to other pop culture stuff for Mad. They're the easiest things in the world to write because they
yeah,
follow the movies, right? So I got the idea of like, okay, I got what this was about. I know who all those actors are from Saturday Night Live, and it's supposed to be not that great. All right, I'll just pretend like I saw that then, and it didn't come up that much. We were all into cooler movies.
yeah.
This is it's a classic. Well, right on.
Nice.
It's a classic in America. French fries.
I
I don't know.
think Christopher
Big
Lee was
choice.
in that movie
Yeah, that's
also,
cool. I'm sure it's
and
a fine film. I just don't
yeah,
care. I've seen the movie posters. It has John Belushi on it with all his tattoos and or what names and whatever. Who cares? I don't care.
I wish that movie had more John Belushi.
Sure. I wish all movies had more John Belushi. John
Yeah.
Belushi and Kate Beckinsale. All right. What
but
was
uh but yeah, overall Duel,
oh,
I did enjoy it. I there's the directing scenes, like, the I like some of the camera angles that they did, like where he's like behind the truck, and the way the camera was panning up to the truck, but you could still see Dennis Weaver in his car, kind of like in that back corner, and
yeah.
so there were some really cool shots that Steven Spielberg did. And
There were a couple shots like that were like sort of standard but also kind of thrilling at the same time, like what you would say it would be, it was they were so cool. I was like trying to think how they were doing it as the movie was going,
yeah.
right? I'm like, okay, this is obviously a car right next to Dennis Weaver and they're right in tight on his face. Then they pull out and they just drive forward in front of the crazy truck, and you're around on the left side past their bumpers, and I'm like, Jesus, I hope those guys all paid their car insurance because that looks a little
Oh,
little
yeah.
little tight move there.
Oh, yeah. And I will say this too, the Dennis Weaver, the way he was like running in that movie, I got Tom Cruise vibes.
Yeah.
Like, I just watching him run, I was just like, that guy's gunning, and but
Well,
I will say the other thing that caught my attention in the beginning of the film, and I just thought to myself, like, why are they doing that? But I was like, oh, because he's got to fit in the shot. But like, he's a tall guy, and when you see him driving, he's just like, he looks like he's just scooted, like his arms are literally like this and his hands are on the steering wheel and he's going like this you
yeah,
know
they did a lot of that though. His physicality was kind of hunched over and stuff, like to sell he's a beaten down sort of Willie Loman kind of guy. But
Yeah.
yeah, when he gets out of the car, though, you can't hide that, right?
Oh yeah, yeah.
He physically becomes like a guy who's kind of at the end of his rope. So yeah, that one of the things I love about 1970s car chase movies like this is that they have to, by the nature of them filming in 1971, have to use 1971 or below cars, right? So
Right.
if you saw that now, you'd be like, "Oh, look at these stuntmen doing dramatic stuff." But it's like, no, there's no anti-lock brakes. There's no racket pinion steering. There's no
It was the
rich
early days.
Corinthian leather. You know,
Yeah.
those cars are just fucking going
There's no
bombing down the
seatbelts.
highway. Yeah, no, they made a big deal. There was a seatbelt thing, but you could tell it was like, oh, here's the insert shot that we show that like to remind everybody in the audience that you have to
Yeah.
put that seatbelt on. But you're right, it's not until like right at the end where he's like he's strapping himself in, and that's the end of the movie. He's gonna take care of the
Yeah.
truck, you know. So yeah, that's actually a pretty good observation, man.
Yeah. And there were some like,
Yeah.
parts of the film that I looked at and I was like, okay, this is foreshadowing, like this is gonna happen. And you have these close-up shots of the back of the truck, right? And it says flammable. So
Yeah,
at one point in my mind, I'm like, okay, it's gonna go off one of those hills, and there's gonna be this
yeah.
huge explosion,
But
right?
there wasn't, right?
It wasn't.
I know.
There was no.
But that's because you're watching it like a modern guy, right?
Right, right, exactly, exactly.
The foreshadowing I liked was the guy that kept telling him about his radiator hose,
Yeah, yeah,
because the movie is like simplicity itself, right? That cuts him off, and then they have like a little battle up the five,
yeah.
right? And so of course that radiator thing is going to come into it. What was?
Oh
Let
yeah,
me scroll up a little. For Rick said, uh, the school bus scene and the call to the wife, and the obviously the POV credits in the beginning, because
yeah.
you have to do movie credits. But I guess that Sally the Snake thing was part of the original. Anyway, oh my God! Here's, speaking of part of the original. Did you catch who wrote this?
No.
It's Richard Matheson, who in this house, DORK COURT, knows that he's like, we think of him as the Twilight Zone guy, right? He wrote 5 or 6 or fucking 15. He probably wrote every Twilight Zone that Rod Serling didn't. He's the guy who did the famous William Shatner one of the Gremlin at
Oh yeah,
50,000
yeah.
feet. Anyway, I don't know if you know this, but the first book that we published that wasn't AIT was Nobody. Charlie Adlard and Alex Amato and Sharon Cho. It was a reprint of an Oni thing that they didn't want to collect in a trade for some reason.
Okay.
And so we sold that as a pilot, and they shot when whatever it is, Acorn now, that it was ABC Family, that streaming channel.
Yeah.
They did this cool adaptation of it, and ended up not buying it as a show, but it was great. But one of the producers on it was Richard Matheson's daughter.
Oh,
So
cool.
one of
Cool.
the best times on set that didn't have something to do with like what they were doing of our comic was I got to talk to her for like an hour about how much I loved her dad.
Yeah.
And but it was mostly Twilight Zone stuff. And
It,
anyway, she was
it
very
was.
generous. She got her dad to autograph a book to me, so that was very generous.
Oh, dude, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. No.
Anyway, Richard Matheson wrote this, and it's because he was just going up to 5 on November 22nd, 1963, which is when Kennedy got shot. So everybody's kind of in a bad mood, and some truck driver cut him off, and he's like, the only way I can deal with this is to go write a short story about this poor sad man who got oppressed and had to kill this guy.
Yeah. But it's funny, like even in the beginning of the film, the whole back and forth between him and the trucker and the driving, I think it's very relatable. I think a lot of people who drive and they deal with
Are you
assholes
kidding?
on the road,
I can't believe that 1971 was the first time they did that.
Yeah.
Like there should have been an old hand cranked black and white Model A Ford battle against some guy in a wagon in front of him, because
Yeah.
road rage happened on day 2.
Get out of the way.
The first time that guy in the first car ran into somebody, he was like, all right, I got to go home and write a Twilight Zone short story about this.
And it's funny that you mentioned Matheson and Twilight Zone because I did aspects of towards the end of the movie, some of the music that was playing and some of the scenes, for some reason my brain registered. It was just like, this feels like a Twilight Zone, like it could have been a Twilight Zone episode.
Oh yeah, really?
Yeah.
Huh. Well, that's cool. I mean, I don't really see a twist really, other than if no, because they kind of set up that, you know.
Yeah. Well, I was kind of like picturing a twist, like, you know,
Yeah.
like I was kind of thinking like there was going to be maybe a twist or whatever. Even like the guy, like you never see the guy in the truck, you know, and you never see his face. So it's like, you know, even to the end of the movie, like you still don't know who this guy is. And of course, you know, at that point, it doesn't matter. It's over. The conflict is over. The guy survived, you know, and, you know, it was just one of those things. But it's like, I don't know, like, yeah, as a modern movie watcher now, right? It's like these are all the things that I wanted. And this movie didn't give that, you know? So I'm just like, you know, like it would have been cool. It would have been cool, you know?
But that's part of the point, right? And that's
Right.
why you have to, you will end up not appreciating it if you don't understand the context under which this movie came out. Because
Right. What it was
60s and 70s, man.
supposed to
Another reason
right.
that's cool about it is I'm getting the same vibe now. It's just I have to pay for my food, and in the 60s, my mother and father would make it for me. But like the
Yeah.
vibe is the same, man. There's like some shit is about to go down, and it's
A lot of people are unhappy. Yeah.
yeah. The twist is that wasn't the reason Larry suggested the movie. Yeah, I mean, I forget why I recommended it. I will just have to go back and give ourselves another hit. But I think it was something like just the 70s, man. It's a bleak
Yeah.
time, and there's not the hand holding that happens with movies
Yeah.
now, where everybody, like the Netflix thing of make sure you have the characters say what they're doing in case the audience is making spaghetti, because
Right.
that's how fucking people watch movies now. Can you imagine? Like you went and paid $20 and to go to a theater and see, you know, the new Mission Impossible, which fucking looks amazing, by the way.
Oh yeah, the trailer looks great.
But then just in the middle of it, you're like, whatever. I'm just gonna, you know, go to the bathroom, get some food. I can't pause it, but you know, Tom Cruise will tell me what's going on, and I won't miss anything. That's fucking insane.
It's like, I need you to trust me
Please
one
don't
last
do
time.
that. Oh, you know what that is, right? Can I blow it for you? Walker
Sure.
and I figured it out. It's the AI from the last movie,
Yeah.
which he's fighting now, is, you know, so we were watching this latest trailer, and you know Kittredge is in it, the guy from the first one.
Yeah.
Have you seen the new trailer?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So and then he goes through and they say like an event from all of the movies. And Walker goes, "Oh my god, McHugh's fucking great. He's tying all that shit together and you know, retroactively." And I'm like, "Yeah, that's pretty cool, but what's the," and then I had this thought, and I go, "What's the one thing in common through all these movies?" And he's like, "Well, what do you mean?" I'm like, "Well, the first three are director-led movies, and the last four or whatever, however the final ones are all writer-led movies, right? And it's
Sure.
getting labyrinthine, but it's going forward and backward in the narrative now, and they're tying everything together. And what's the common thread of all those movies? It's fucking Ethan Hunt, man. And so
Yeah.
I think Kittredge and the boys were like getting tired of Ethan around the third movie because he's just doing whatever he wants and it comes out fine. They're like, let's fucking knock him out and steal his brain or something. Write this AI code to make like this thing that we don't fucking need Ethan anymore, but something that has
Yeah.
his ability to figure shit out that's under our control. And it goes crazy. And we have the events of now. And so the last movie is going to be him against himself. But
Yeah.
He wins because his superpower is luck, man.
Well, I
Like,
was getting
AIs don't have luck. It's not the human thing. It's
right.
just there's just something that we have. It's like fucking luck, and he can take advantage of it. Maybe it's a fucking superpower because
Yeah.
that dude misses tragedy a lot.
He does. He totally does.
So maybe he just got a spider sense. He feels it coming and figures it out and gets everybody together, and it's all about family.
Manifestation.
You know, yeah, exactly. So
Yeah.
that's what I think is going on. The big bad evil
Yeah.
is
Well,
himself.
the vibe that I was getting was like kind of like a Matrix vibe, because like you see him put on this mask, right? And like it's
Yeah.
like he's going inside the AI,
Yeah.
you know, and I
He
think
has
maybe there's
to
going to be
face himself, Randall. I'm telling you, it's all there in the
Yeah.
trailer. I'm telling you. Anyway.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
No,
Thank
it's
you. Thanks, Tony. You recommended that because Matheson wrote it. Okay, that's cool. I don't know. Who knows? Sorry. Mission Impossible.
I
Okay,
think you recommended Duel. I think you recommended Duel because when we were talking about the French Connection, like the car chasing scenes. We were talking about cars, and I think you probably mentioned Duel because
yeah.
the
Well,
car scenes.
that's the prototypical. Like everybody talks about Bullet being the car chase one, but I always think of Duel. Even though I love Steve McQueen, I love Bullet.
Yeah.
I just Duel is first, so it's like it's not really a car chase one where people retroactively look at it and go, "Oh, that's where car chases started," because Bullet did the map, but Duel really did the map for a car being an agent of something beyond travel conveyance. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
It says flammable on the side, man. Right there. That might as well just say danger. Keep back 10 feet. Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway. I
Yeah.
also like the thing that the inciting incident is that not just like Tony said, wait, not that one. Cars from the 60s and 70s drove like pontoon boats. Like they really did. Walker's getting his license now and he's mildly complaining about learning how to parallel park. And I'm like, dude, your first attempt at parallel park is 75% there. Like this is an impossible thing. And I learned how to do this in a Oldsmobile Delta 88, which is a big car. And I'm not like saying, ooh, you know, I had to walk to school both ways. But let's keep in mind, you have a back-facing camera, bro. I mean, like,
yeah, it's true. It's true. It's much easier with the back camera.
If you can't parallel park with a back-facing camera, you need to just not be driving. Anyway,
I think it's just the inconvenience of it. Even you can make it as easy as possible, and it's still going to be inconvenient to parallel park.
Well, okay. I'm
That's just how I feel.
Agnostic on that. So just let's start this rumor that Tom Cruise's Peter Parker is confirmed.
I guarantee you, there's still people thinking he's going to be superior Iron Man, and I just tell people like, you guys really don't understand how Tom Cruise works. You know, that man isn't going to just take a role for the you know, especially a superhero type role or big budget film. You know, he's a businessman. If you want him in the Marvel movie, you're going to have to pay him Robert Downey Jr. money, even if it's for a small role.
All right, so let's leaving aside his whole thing as Lev Grossman in Tropic Thunder, proving that what you just said is not always true.
Well, that's a rare exception, though. Like what other times
is it?
I think so. As far as from what I've seen, because most of his films, he's the leading man. He's a producer on the film.
Sure.
You know, like he's taken small roles before. Like, okay, so Austin Powers, you know, he plays as himself as an actor, playing as Austin Powers. He does a little funny cameo. And then I can't even say that Les Grossman is a cameo role. That it was a very small, like, supporting role in that film.
So what are you splitting hairs, right?
Well, I'm just saying it's like, you know, he does it 2 or 3 times. You know.
All right, I'm gonna do well, I haven't done this for a while, but I'm gonna make you a $1 bet if you want to take this.
Okay.
At some point, without any like this or that or something, it has to be this specific thing. I'm telling you, at some point, Tom Cruise is going to be in a Marvel movie, and I'm not going to say it's a supporting role or a cameo or fucking. It's even
just a Marvel movie.
I think he's going to show up as Tony Stark in the.
Well, you know, and so I think he will show up in a Marvel film, but not as Tony Stark. he will show up into it. And I will say this.
But
That's because I think Marvel films will still be around 30, 40 years from now. So Tom Cruise at
well,
like
I'm
80,
not gonna be, so who gives a shit?
it's okay. I'll visit you. I'll visit you and tell you about it and be like, yeah, you were right. He was in the Marvel film.
Dude, I'm gonna be dead 40 years from now. I'll be 102. Come on. So here's the thing. Cruise is very Nick Fury. That totally works, and you could just take him from Valiant or what Valkyrie, one of those
Yeah.
V movies, and
Yeah.
put it. No, I'm just saying, like, so I don't know anything about Tom Cruise, and neither do you. So going, Tom Cruise will do this is just you blowing smoke. So
I've studied him.
stop doing that.
Okay.
But as a fan sitting on the couch
Yeah.
that watches Tom Cruise movies, just like me, what do you get out of Tom Cruise movies? Like, when instead of asking you because you'll say some millennial nonsense, what we all get out of Tom Cruise movies is that no matter what you think of him politically or fucking whatever, that dude will do anything to entertain an audience.
Yeah.
And as an audience member, if you're looking at a good-looking guy doing crazy shit for your entertainment, and you have some feeling about that guy other than fucking thank you very much. This is an entertaining film. I have some quibbles about this story, but you're fucking hanging off the side of a building so high in the air that if something happens, you will die of old age before you hit the ground. That's fucking bananas. And they left you up there at lunchtime and you didn't call on the radio, come get me down off this crazy shit. You just practiced going back and forth until everybody had their ham and Swiss. That fucking guy understands that the entire planet wants to see him, not just as Iron Man, but as Tony Stark. And at some point, he's going to wake up and go, let's give the kids what they want, because he wants to entertain people. So that's why I think he's going to be Iron Man. And if maybe it's not Tony Stark, but maybe he flips this thing open and fucking Tom Cruise is Iron Man, right?
Sure.
Like, not the actor, like Tom Cruise himself in the Marvel universe. I don't know. Like, something cool is going to happen because Tom is awesome. And people think he's not, are caught up in like Scientology and all that crazy bullshit. And I don't care.
Yeah. People don't know how to
jumped across a building, broke his leg, and kept up and hobbled off screen to get the shot because it's important to entertain people, right?
He's
dedicated.
Doesn't
want to disappoint, right? Exactly.
He's dedicated and.
All right. Sorry, I had to get off my Tom Cruise thing. That guy's unfairly maligned. When you do a movie like Night and Day that would be trash if anybody else was in it, just hey, here's me and Cameron Diaz on a motorcycle doing wheelies and spinning shit out. Like that. Yeah. That's fucking great. So God bless you, Tom Cruise. All right. All right, where are we with the kids? I kind of went off on a thing. As Tom Cruise gets older, he's going to leave his mark in more places. He can't live forever. Maybe he can. Maybe he can live forever. The tower stunt, yeah, that was insane.
Oh yeah.
Cole Trickle cameo in an MCU. Which one's Cole Trickle? I'm not 100%.
Cole, I think Days of Thunder.
Yeah, another one I haven't seen. You know why? I love Tom. Nicole Kidman, not so much.
Well, I'm trying to remember who directed that movie. Was it Tony Scott?
I don't know. Is this summer's Mission Impossible might be his last action movie? I think you're probably right.
No, it won't be his last action movie.
Action, like now? Bro's 62, man.
Yeah, well, I mean, look at Harrison Ford. You know, he did an Indiana Jones film in his, 70s?
Did he have any action, though? That movie? I love that movie, but
Punches,
that was all stuntmen with really
down a couple times.
Iron Man is me. Yeah, that would be cool. I was just padding up my rollerball helmet today. Hey, if Rick Austin is still here, Rick, I got an extra rollerball suit that I did. Just the orange thing. You want a large, right? Okay, I'll send it to you.
Nice.
I also did a moon pie with a 9 on the front, but the reason I ended up doing 4 different ones. Like one was the jersey wasn't right, and then I messed up the numbers, and then one was just moon pie, which was a 6 upside down. It's a 9. I saw, yeah. All right, man. I'll send you my extra suit. It's just laying around. One of my buddies went to WonderCon in
Oh, cool.
Anaheim, and they sent me a pic of some guy in his rollerball suit, and I went, man, I am bringing my rollerball shit to San Diego this year because he
Yes.
figured out to just you can wear the motorcycle boots and carry the skates with you.
Oh,
The
yeah, yeah.
second I saw that, I'm like, all right, that's great.
That's smart.
I love that. Send that shit. Absolutely.
It'd be funny though if you got one of those shoes that had like the little wheelies.
Tony, I don't. Yeah, exactly. Tony, I'll send you the moon pie one because I made it for Walker. We haven't even taken a picture. He doesn't care. I'm like, all right, man, whatever. So I don't remember what size that is. That's probably a large as well. So I'll just mail that to you, man. Caca. Tony's in the bird club. This was never meant to be a game. I know. I've been on this rollerball kick and I haven't watched it yet because I want to watch it with Walker, and we just haven't.
Yeah.
We haven't had any time. And he's got a lot of stuff going on. He's getting ready to go to college.
So I've never seen the original Rollerball. I saw the remake.
Dude.
So I know.
It's not even that you haven't seen the old one. It's that the new one is not good. The remake.
Yeah. We talked about that before. And it was just like, yeah,
that's just horrible.
I was only like interested in watching it because at the time I was kind of on a Chris Klein kick. You know.
No, but why? Like they were trying to make Chris Klein a thing, and I was like, what?
They were definitely trying to make him a thing.
The
and
charisma of my socks. Anyway,
hey, his best performance is probably in that Ryan Reynolds film, the Just Friends.
Yeah.
It's fun. I mean,
rom-com or something. I don't know.
Yeah, so Ryan Reynolds played like an overweight fat guy who had a crush on this girl, and they were only friends.
Oh Jesus!
And then he loses all the weight, becomes a real successful guy, good-looking guy.
Isn't that like Fat Hal or something? Or is it the same thing?
Oh, Shallow Hal? No.
Shallow Hal.
No.
There was a spate of fat guy movies where you don't wear the fat suit.
Yeah. You know, he wore the fat suit. And basically,
but when you lose the weight, you don't have to wear the fat suit, is what I'm saying.
Oh, yeah.
Like the Rock in Central Intelligence. That was a good fat suit.
That was great. I'm surprised they haven't done a sequel to that.
Yeah, really though. I mean, at some point, like, you know, George Clooney and Mark Wahlberg just want to stop making movies together. So, like, you know, so The Rock and Kevin Hart, at some point, they're just gonna be like, "Hey, man, like, I can't make another Jumanji with you."
Well, you know what? If Kevin
so
Hart,
little and unfunny.
if Kevin Hart doesn't, you know, make more quote unquote successful films, I see him going back. I think Jack Black already announced that he's coming back for the next Jumanji film.
So why wouldn't you? Those are fun. I like Jumanji.
Yeah. Oh yeah, they're great. I haven't seen the second one. I saw the first one in theaters.
The first one was Jake Kasdan, who I really like. He did Zero Effect, and he started New Girl basically with a He was the James Burrows for New Girl.
Yeah, I love New Girl. It's a great show.
Why wouldn't you, man? I just saw some. I watched like funny press on YouTube at lunchtime because I have like 20 minutes to kill, and it's not long enough to watch TV really, and the news isn't worth fighting. It's because I just read Dance Fighting. The news isn't worth watching. So I was just watching Alan Richman go talk about, you know, it's the funny stuff about Jumanji and, you know, whatever. I don't know. I lost it because I said Dance Fighting. There's this great picture of what's her name, Karen Gillian, and her two stunt girls. So they're all made up like her. They have the same basic frame, and they both have the red hair wigs. Yeah. So you can tell, but they all look like sisters. But it's just cool. It made me laugh. My weakness is dance
for the Jumanji film. Yeah.
My strength is dance fighting. My weakness is cake. I was talking about Kasdan, I guess, and something with Alan Richman. I don't know, but I really liked one of the shots there, and that was 100% Kasdan, that when the three of them are in detention, they're waiting for detention. The kids, not the
Yeah.
celebrity actors in the game. There's two of them sitting. The girl and the guy are sitting together, and then the football player. There's an empty seat, and the football player is not next to him. So it's just a straight on shot of the four of them. And I saw that like 3 times. Walker loved it when he was like 10. So we watched it kind of a lot.
Yeah.
And one time I wasn't really paying attention until I realized that even in the beginning, that shot tells you that empty seat is for seaplane because they bring him back.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I'm like, that's I mean, it gives me chills when visual storytelling works like that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
No, I know what you mean.
Visual storytelling.
I saw these guys talking about Fight Club, and they were just like pointing out like little things like, if you caught the little clues, if you were paying attention, you would have guessed or you would have known that. I don't know if you've seen Fight Club or not.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. It's
So like
the Watchmen of movies.
I think the first time I saw that movie, I was a senior in high school, and there was just something.
That's great. Then
yeah.
Did you read Ayn Rand right after that?
No. But dude, there was just something about that film that I was just like, man, I really like this movie. Like my appreciation and admiration for Brad Pitt took a notch up, and of course that was the film where I always remembered who Ed Norton was,
Mm-hmm.
and of course David Fincher, his directing in that film. I became a fan of his as a director. I actually saw that movie before I saw Seven, and so years later I finally watched Seven, and I was like, oh, this is a great film, but in the back of my mind I'm like, Fight Club is better.
Fincher will always be persona non grata in our house because of Alien 3.
Oh yeah.
I don't follow that guy's career at all. I'm like, okay, I get it. Did you start making soap? No. Yeah. Okay. Where are we? 6:22. Man, we were crushing it. We've been going on for a while.
Yeah, fun conversations, man. Okay, so let's. What did we decide? You said the two choices.
I don't know. I don't know. Let's. Who's still? There's a couple guys still watching. What do you think? We said Close Encounters was one, right?
Yep, Close
Encounters. I said Vanishing Point was one.
Vanishing Point.
I said, but we might want to get out of the existential angst 70s movies that I love.
Okay.
So.
I have a suggestion.
1941. Yeah. Let's choose those two, because then you could shit on me for not having seen this 1941.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen 1941, so I'll watch it again.
No. Let's just do that. I know you'll be able to find Close Encounter somewhere.
Close Encounters. Okay.
Yeah. So let's say that, and then if we end up spending half the time talking about 1941,
yeah,
I will do that.
Can I make my suggestion real quick?
Yeah.
In honor of Val Kilmer passing.
Oh yeah.
I was thinking one of the next films could be a Val Kilmer film that I haven't seen.
Okay.
And one particular film that I've told people I haven't seen, they're like, "What? How have you not seen that film?" Is the movie Heat. I haven't seen Heat. So I think that'd be cool.
Let's do that. That's an easy one. We did French Connection when Gene Hackman died, so let's do Heat next time. That's awesome.
Sweet.
Yeah. Let me put up Rick's thing though. I saw Vanishing Point at the Rutland Drive-In with my parents, and Miss Ellie, she made me cover my eyes when the naked chick on the bike rides.
I'm sold. Naked chick in Vanishing Point. Okay.
Vanishing Point is crazy good. I'm so jealous that Rick saw that in the drive-in.
I'll be honest.
I saw it on TV, but late night TV, CBS late night, mystery movie thing.
Yeah.
Fucking blew my fucking little kid mind. I love that.
I'm not familiar with Vanishing Point. Who is in it and what is it about?
It's hard to explain.
Okay.
A guy's just trying to take a car from one side to the other really fast. It's one of the movies that it informed Black Diamond. And when I was doing press for Black Diamond, I wish that I had said something about DUEL, because when I watched DUEL again this time, I got Japanese on a Japanese Blu-ray. That's awesome.
Oh, nice.
Vigo Morgenstern did the TV remake, which I had that on DVD, but I sold that to me a long time ago. Who needs that? But what was I just saying? So Vanishing Point, uh, Two Lane Blacktop, Dirty Mary, Crazy Larry. Those are the main. There's a lot of 1970s. Get in a fast car and go somewhere really fast, trying to prove a point about something. And Vanishing Point is one of those. I forget what it is. I think he's trying to smuggle drugs.
Okay.
Someplace from Chicago to LA really fast, something like that. He's trying to get from one place to the other, but it's not a large distance because there's a radio DJ that follows him from the beginning to the end.
Okay.
And it's like I can't tell you the plot because that's it, right? But it's the stuff that happens along the way that makes it so amazing.
Okay.
I forget who the lead is. It's some craggy faced guy that, in the 70s where Walter Matthau was a leading man, right? Like I miss the 70s because regular people could star in movies and it was just great.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh yeah, watch it on the Internet Archives. Yeah. I saw.
I gotta find that.
I was talking about the Monkeys today to Walker, and like the Monkeys has to be on MeTV or something, and you can't find it anywhere. It's like full episodes are on YouTube, but they're random. It takes a while to find them. And then so even my own kid is like, oh, I'm sure they're on the Internet Archive, and they are.
My only thing is I like watching it on my TV, so I'm trying to think if I can pull up Internet Archives on my TV or not.
Barry Newman, yeah, man, Rick Austin. He's a fount of those kind of knowledge in the sense of a fountain and not like a letter set, a font of knowledge.
Right.
Anyway, so what do we decided? Well, let's do Heat. Yeah, Heat.
Heat, awesome.
Let me write that down. I know Rick will have something to say about Heat because his Uncle Bobby is in it.
Yeah.
Dude, like you don't even know. I'll post that picture in the thread that I started for this picture of Rick, man. It looks like, I mean, it's literally a snapshot.
Yeah.
So there's no way that you think that anything's been photoshopped, but you're like, how does this guy that I've known since third grade in this picture with these two movie stars? And then you know what my kid thinks. Hey, what's Alec Baldwin doing in this picture with Mr. Rick?
Yeah.
So it's all about perspective.
The shadow.
Look at this, man. Tony's telling you what to do. Pull it up on your computer, connect an HDMI cable to your TV. Yeah, man. I don't tell people what to do with their TVs because every TV is different. Might as well tell somebody how to raise their kid, right? It's like I can throw stuff from my phone onto my TV, but that's because Mimi did some magic shit about, connectivity. Like HDMI cable, that's about the limit of my technological stuff. I could handle that one.
Yeah.
After that,
I used to actually have my PC connected to my TV, and then I kind of just got bored with it.
Well, it takes some penicillin and clears that right up. Hey, now. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, who's that? Val Kilmer, Robert De Niro. Who else is in Heat? Is Al Pacino in Heat?
Al Pacino.
Yeah,
the great Hank Azaria.
There's a really famous scene of them in the diner that I watched one day.
Yeah.
That I forget what it was, but some actor that was watching it was like, I couldn't believe these two guys were like doing this in front of me.
I actually saw someone posted clips that Heat is essentially a remake, and like a lot of the lines and scenes are like word for word, like just redone, but with Robert De Niro and Al Pacino. And
is that really a remake though?
It is, because it's like literally the same plot, the same character names. Like the movie was made, I think.
But it's Michael Mann, right? I mean, it's the same guys working on it. Just
he basically did the movie twice.
So that's just like oh man, what's that movie? Never mind. Keep going. I'm sorry I interrupted you for something where I lost my train of thought. But there was Robert Rodriguez, right? He did
Yeah.
Desperado, but that was another movie in Spanish before that. Like,
Oh yeah, El Mariachi.
El Mariachi. It's like the same movie. You just get more money.
Yeah.
It's like THX 1138, right? It's like a student film that you air out with Robert De Niro. There you go. I mean,
Yeah.
that's kind of. I don't think it's really a remake when it's another version of your song, right? When the same guys work on it, they're like, "Oh, here's more money, make it better,"
Yeah.
or here's a
Like
better
Evil Dead.
cast.
Like Evil Dead, right?
Yeah,
Like
there you
Evil
go.
Dead, Evil
Yeah,
Dead
yeah.
2. Yeah.
Holy shit! This is the first scene ever between Al and Bobby. Man, you know what? We should just watch Heat and talk to Rick, and then silence you, mute you. It's like I'll just talk to Rick because man, that guy's gonna have something to say about Heat. Anyway,
Sure.
I'm teasing. Of course, I wouldn't do that. I might do it as a joke.
Yeah.
For 2 seconds, but John Voight is fun in Heat, says Timmy.
Oh, John Voight. Nice.
And then Kate, my favorite. Okay. Their first scene ever was at Rick's favorite LA restaurant.
Nice.
That's cool. See, he's full of that LA stuff.
I don't know if you're familiar with the comedian Ari Spears.
I know Ari from Mad TV. Come on, don't insult me, man.
And hey, I don't want to assume.
I saw the first episode of Mad TV at San Diego in July before it premiered in September. There were fucking 32 people in the thing, and I told Mimi, I was like, this show is going to fucking slay it. Every one of these actors is great.
Yeah,
and I was right. Anyway, Ari Spears.
Yeah, he did this stand up, and he literally recites that line where they're in the restaurant. And so he does these great impressions. He has the cadence down for Al Pacino and for Robert De Niro and even Arnold Schwarzenegger, which he does on a separate bit. But he was just so funny, and the way he loves like mobster films, but he also just loves Robert De Niro and Al Pacino. And so he talks about Heat and the way he like does that scene. It's one of the reasons it makes me kind of want to watch it also, just because the way he describes it. Right. And his love for that movie.
Do you want to? Tuesday's a little better. You want to? And this time, you want to tell people Tuesday at 8:30 Pacific, 5:30.
Yeah, Tuesday is great.
See you next Tuesday with Heat. What's your catchphrase?
What took me so long?
I keep forgetting. I forget your catchphrase. That's pretty. All right.
You're the one that came up with it.